Do this. Show the employee ID, last name, job ID, salary, department ID, department name for employees who are IT programmers. I'm gonna give you guys a minute plus for 3-4 minutes for it. It's a longer question. So let me answer this. Let me help you guys answering this. So this is again a join question where you would need to actually show a join between two tables. So what you would need to do over here is select employee ID and then last name, and then over here it's asking for job ID. So I'm going to add job ID to my last query, and then it's asking for salary, and then it's asking for department underscore ID and department name. So that's what I've added. And then what I need to do is I need to only filter for those who are IT programmers, right? So what I need to do is where job underscore ID equals IT underscore prog, and that's the answer. However, you would see it's going to give me an ambiguous error. Does anyone know what this error is? Column ambiguously defined.
Yeah, the department ID column is not defined.
Yes, and does anyone know why is it saying it? Well, there's a reason for it, and that's because department ID column is in both these tables, right? That's the join column over here, if you can see this. Department ID is the join column, and it's in both tables. Now, one problem with this is that when it exists inside both tables, it really becomes difficult for uh, let's not say programmers, but it becomes difficult. It really becomes ambiguous for uh, actually uh, SQL or Oracle to know which table it needs to take it from. However, even if it takes it from any table, it doesn't really matter because what we're trying to do is we're trying to do an inner join, so it's going to have the equal number of rows. However, what I can do over here is I can just say where department underscore ID, and I can just write the full name of it. So the full column name. So it's HR dot employees dot department underscore ID. Uh, and it's basically HR.employees department underscore ID. So I'm just saying take the department ID from over here, and that's basically going to take department ID from that table. So this is basically the full name of the column. It's really defining HR.employees department ID, and it's defining this is the full name which is associated to this column. I can really say HR.departments.department underscore ID, and that's going to give me the same answer. However, when there's a column which exists in both tables, your Oracle gets confused. Alright, so this is the answer, which is pretty much similar to what I got. And let's go to the next question. Display employee ID, department name, and department ID for departments from 60 to 80. Let's see if you guys are able to solve this. Let's do this. Let me copy your answer, and let's try to fix that one over here. So this is what you have, right? And So you're saying select employee ID, department name. So this is correct from HR.employees, and then you're doing an inner join on HR.employees to HR.departments, and you're defining your join over here, which is HR.employees.department ID equals HR.departments dot department underscore ID. And then you're saying where department underscore ID is between 60 and 80. You wrote everything right, but it's going to give you a column ambiguous error. And this is something which we talked about in last time as well. Do you know why it's giving you this? Yeah, it's really giving you this because you haven't really defined HR.employees. You need to define where this department underscore ID column is coming from. Because what's going to happen is as
So you
this department ID and this department ID over here, it has the same has the same. I'm sorry. It's basically exists in both tables. When you define department ID alone over here without actually defining from or where exactly it's from, it doesn't really know where this. Now over here, however, you're defining the full column, right? HR.employees department ID. That's the full with the name of it. So whenever you refer a column, what happens is SQL defines it like this. It goes hr.employees.employee ID. It's automatically going to associate this to it. And it's going to say hr.departments. It's going to know, it automatically knows where to go and get this column from, which is department name. However, with department ID, it doesn't know because it actually exists in both tables. So it's like, where do I actually get this in the select from? And what you can say is, in this scenario, we're using an inner join, so it can actually be from anywhere. So it can be from hr.employees. So I can just add hr.employees.department ID, and I can add hr.employees.department ID over here. What this would do, hr.employees.department ID, employee, oh, employee ID. And what this would do is it's going to define exactly where the data is coming from. So this is basically the full name of the column. You don't really need to write this when the column name is not ambiguous. So when it knows where the employee ID is from, you know where the department name is from. So you don't really need to write this. But for this column department ID, because it exists in both tables, you need to define where you want this data to be displayed from. Okay, let's do the next one. And display employee ID, last name, salary, department name, and you can also give an alias name as well, and sort based on salary. So don't worry about the alias name, just display employee ID, last name, salary, and department name, and sort the result based on salary. Right, to answer it, then I'm going to copy your answer and just paste it onto the chat box. And okay, so you got all the columns. So you got employee ID, you got last name, you got salary as well. So that's correct. And then you got department name over here, and you actually use the full name of the column, and that's fine. And then you have hr.employees and hr.departments. That's the join. And then you're doing an order by salary. That's fine. Now let's see what is the issue with this, and let's run this. So you really okay? HR.employees the department underscore name. Now, one thing it's really saying is this column does not exist in the employees table. It exists inside the departments table. So that's the first thing. This column department name is inside the departments table. First of all, so that's the first problem. Let's run this now. However, there is another problem. And that's basically your join over here. Your HR.employees.department ID equals to HR.departments.department name. The two columns are not equal. You want to make sure the column names you put over here are equal. Now, if you run it after you make them equal, it should run fine. Does it help? Seema, were you able to understand?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Okay. And let's go to the next question here. Display employees, employee ID, first name, last name, department name, and the city. Now, just to give you guys an idea about this, this is really a join between three tables over here. Because just to give you guys an idea of this, the city is inside the location table. Employee ID is over here inside the employees table. First name is over here as well. Last name is here as well. Department name is inside the departments table over here. All right, let's see if you guys are able to create a join between three tables. It's not easy, but let's see. So what first thing I would say is create a normal join between departments and employees. That's the first thing I would say. And then think about how to make a table join between the third table. All right, so I think here's the answer for it, just to help you guys. And when you want to do a double join, a multiple join, what you need to do is you need to define the first join over here. That ends over here, and then you need to define another join, which is basically defining how this table is joining to this. Then we need the city column, which is over here. And that's city over here. And we already have columns: employee ID, first name, last name. Let me just get first name as well. And the only thing we need to add over here is city. Now the way I can add city over here is I can just say another join. I can add another join. So I have some HR.employees and inner join HR.department. So there's a join which is already there. I can add another join which is inner join, and I would say HR.locations, and that's going to be my second join. And on this, what I would do is I would define locations, and what I'm just actually just giving space so you can understand, and then I will do another join on, and I would define the how this join works. So HR.departments dot, and then basically it's based on the location ID over here that's included in both tables. So HR.departments.location underscore ID equals to HR.locations dot, and then again factor location underscore ID. And when I got this, I'm just gonna run, and it's gonna give me the location city as well. So this is how you would really do a join between three tables. You would add another inner join to it. That's going to say inner join HR.locations.
Can we write it next to inner join HR departments?
No, don't do that. That's going to make it confusing as well, and it's not going to work. Let's put it this way. So this shouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's what mine didn't work.
Yeah. So it's going to give you an answer. You want to make sure that if you want to make a join, you define the join first over here, and then you define You define the table first, and then you define what columns it's equivalent to, and then a table and what column it is equivalent to. So that's the structure. They're the same thing. We're not going to talk about self joins. However, what's the time right now? It's 11:13. Okay, let's do this question over here. How can we display all employees' IDs with their first name, last name, salary, department names, and cities, even if they don't have any department or city? So you want everything from the employees table. Let me just make it clear. You want everything from the employees table, and then if they have a department, show it. If there's a city associated with them, show it. So let's go back to the question. So we already have this employee ID, first name, last name, city, departments, and name, and we have the city. We're currently using a left inner join. Now, what the question is telling us is just to change this to a left, and that's if we use the left and the left over here, it would be the right answer for this one. So it's going to get everything from the employees table, and then if there is any matching rows inside departments or locations, it's going to bring it out. In our case, that was correct. So, and
We can't do full join?
you can actually, it's going to give you the same answer. I'll just write full outer join, and I'll just do the full outer. So if you do full outer join, it is correct as well in this case, because it's getting all the data from all tables. That's fine. Okay, let's do the next task. Display the name of the departments that do not have any employee. See if you guys are able to figure this out. So I think I have a few answers. The right answer for this one is select department name. You want the names of the department, so just department names from HR to department as D, and left join HR and employees, and you want where department ID is null. So you want the names of the department where there's no, there's uh, there's no employee. So what I can let me just give you guys an idea of this. So select department underscore name from HR.employees where, and then if I go back over here, it's where HR sorry, from HR and employees, and I just need to do an inner join first. Inner join, or sorry, left join HR dot departments, and then the next part is to do basically it's doing an inner left join. So I need to define what columns are equivalent. So HR dot employees dot department underscore ID equals to departments dot department underscore ID, and if I do a run on this and execute, it's going to give me all the names of the departments. But these are all the names of the departments. I don't want all the names of the departments. I want departments which do not have an employee. So I can say where employee underscore ID is null. And if I run and execute this, this is going to give me only those departments which do not have, uh, sorry, where employee underscore ID is null. And when I run this, it's going to give me only those departments uh, which do not have an employee. Now, one problem which I am doing over here is I need to actually switch my tables. I need hr.departments over here and just run this now. Now it's telling me these departments don't have, there's 16 rows selected that don't have any employee in it. Hope that makes sense. Let's do the next question. Count the number of employees in each city. Let's see if you guys are able to solve this. It's a tough question, so all these four are really tough questions. So I'm going to give you slack, but let's try solving this. Count the number of employees in each city. And really use this one. I think it's it's basically a join between three tables, and it's not really easy. But if you want to see this, sorry. So the answer for this is basically you need to do select city, count employee ID. Now that's easy. And another thing you need to do is group by city over here. So once you do a group by city, it's going to work. However, to do this, you need to actually create the joins between these three tables. So from hr.employees as E, left join hr.department as D, and so on. And on e.department ID, you're just defining these joins, and then you're doing a simple group by, which is aggregating the data based on the city, and then it's giving you some sort of a result for it. I can see another answer about TCON, and yeah, pretty much that's right. So let me just run this query for you guys and show you the answer. So it's select count employee ID and city from hr.employees and giving it an alias, and then you can use a full join department D on department ID, and then you can also do another full join over here, locations, and then you defining the tables which there is a join on, and that's pretty much how the answer for this should actually look like. And then you're doing a group by on city. If you run and execute this, it's going to give you a count of number of employees in different cities. And there are 24 different cities and the number of employees which exist in different cities. Okay, I'm going to give you the last task for today and count the average salary of employee by department name. Let's see if you guys are able to do this. Now this must be easier. You want to find out the average salary of departments. So there's the salary column and you want it by department name. So that's the last task. So let's see if you guys are able to solve this. And don't worry if you're not able to get the right answer for this. These are tough questions. So it's just to teach you. But yeah, slowly average salary from hr.department underscore department name. You don't really need to do department underscore department name because it doesn't matter. However, you can do it from hr.employees, left join to perfectly right. So it's average salary by department. So you put average salary and then hr.department, so department name, and you do a group by department name. And just the same thing over here. Then I would need to do it. However, with department name, because it only exists inside the departments table, you won't need to do it. Hope that makes sense.